Hello my friends, struggling to keep up with the changes happening to the data presented in your Power BI dashboard? Fear not, in this quick and insightful tutorial, we'll delve into taking automated snapshots from Power BI using Power Automate and link the data back to your Power BI dashboard. This is especially crucial if your data sources like Excel or online lists don't have a built-in audited trail. Before we start, make sure to subscribe for more savvy BI tips. Now, grab a cup of coffee, sit back and watch. Okay guys, we're going to use in this tutorial the same dashboard we used in Power Automate Alerts. You can find a link in the description for the playlist for those videos and tutorials. But let me take you quickly through the data we have. So this is a simple dashboard to track the budget coming from one source and the consumption against budget for 5 different projects across those 3 stages. So the idea here, over time, the budget will be changing and also the consumption and the signed contracts will be changing. So what we want to do in this tutorial is to take snapshots, for example, every month, every week, and keep a track of those changes. To do this, I created another page. I named it Snapshots. It basically have the same visual for the KPI. And here I added one matrix. This matrix has 2 levels row, the project and the stage, as you can see here. And we have the budget, the consumption, and the remaining. Those all coming from the tables or the sources we have. Here the approved budget and the amount of the contracts and the remaining. But before we jump to Power Automate, we need to add a current date column for both of the tables to be able to take it as a snapshot date. So let's go to transform data. And for the budget, we're going to add a column. So we'll go with custom column, name it current date, and we'll search for now. So we can find a function for local now. Close the brackets and click OK. So this gives us the date and time now. Let's actually change it to date only. We don't care about time. So here we have the date. And we repeat the same thing for the consumption table. So here we go, the current date is added. There's one important note on why we have added the current date here, because this table will be only updated when the data is refreshed. So if you have the dashboard published on Power BI service, it will only update once the data is refreshed. So if the data refreshed 2 days ago, for example, you're still gonna find the date showing for 2 days ago and the snapshot will be accurate. Having that said, we're ready now for Power Automate. Let's first publish this dashboard to the Power BI service to be able to access it through Power Automate. So click publish from here, keep it to my workspace. I have it published, so here we go. This is the published dashboard. Now we can link Power Automate to this dashboard. Now let's go to Power Automate. So this is Power Automate landing page. We'll start by creating a new flow. Click on create. And we'll select schedule cloud flow. So here you set up how often you want to schedule the snapshots. It will run automatically based on this schedule. So we'll start it by end of January 2024. The time, you decide the time you want the snapshot to be taken. You can make it after hours, for example 10 p.m. or something, and repeat every 1 month. You can make it weekly, daily, based on your needs. And click create. So now we have the trigger is set up automatically. Next step, we'll add an action to run a query against Power BI dataset. Let's just search for Power BI actions. Here we go, just expand it from here. You can find the option run a query against a dataset. So we have it here, and you can set up the workspace first, my workspace, the dataset. You select the published dashboard dataset, the snapshot dataset. Next, you need to provide the query here, and we'll use the same trick we used in the Power Automate alerts workflow. Let's remember how we have done this. We go back to Power BI desktop. So in Power BI desktop, create an empty page and add a table containing all the columns from the first table, which is the budget. So we have the stage, the project ID, the project, the current date, and the approved budget. And from Optimize, select Performance Analyzer, and you just start recording and refresh visuals. So you can see here the table. If you expand, you can see here the query, and you can copy it from here. Just click Copy Query. Now we go back to Power Automate, and we simply paste the text, the query text here. And you need to do a couple of things here. Just remove the text, the DAX query comment from here, and go down. If you find anything order by, also get rid of this. We don't need it. So now we have the query with all the columns we need from the budget table. So this is the first query. It's ready. Now we'll add a similar query, but this time for the consumption, for the other table. But we don't want to add it as a next step. We want to add it as a parallel branch. Click on the plus sign here and select Add a Parallel Branch. The same way, look for Power BI, see more, run query against a dataset, and we can see now it's coming as a parallel step. We just repeat the same steps, and we go to Power BI to get another query, this time for the consumption table. So this is in Power BI. I have added a table from the consumption dataset. It contains all the fields we need, including the current date we have created. Click on Start Recording, refresh visuals. You can find the query here, just copy. And back to Power BI, we do just the same. We remove, after we paste it, we remove the extra comment here and remove also the order by. We have now the two queries are ready. The next step is to store the data somewhere, and for that we're going to use Google Sheets, but you can use other sources. For example, you can save it to an SQL table, but for our case we're going to use a Google Sheet. So I have created those two Google Sheets, one for the consumption and one for the budget snapshots. So it basically have the same columns, titles, and I have added two random snapshots just to start the process manually. We can see we have a snapshot date added, and we have another snapshot here added for all the projects, and same for the consumption. I created two snapshots for all the contracts, the signed contracts in one sheet. We want to start to add new snapshots to the same sheets, and we'll link them later to the Power BI dashboard. So let's go back to Power Automate and add the next steps. So in the plus sign here, for the first query of the budget, we add an action, and the first action will be apply to each row of this query. So we'll search for apply to each. Here we go, click on it, and we select the output from the previous step to be from the dynamic fields, first table rows. This will allow us to iterate through each row in this query, which is basically all the projects and stages. Now we're ready to add the rows to our Google Sheet. Click Add an Action inside the Apply to Each and search for Google Sheet. And here we go. select insert row, and you need to pick the file. So assuming that you have saved the Google Sheet in your drive, you'll find it listed here. Go to the location where it's stored, budget snapshots, and pick the worksheet, budget. You can see now, if you click on show all, you can see all the columns. Now you need to start to add the fields for each of the columns. And to do this, you can go to the column, click on expression here, and you need to feed in the field value, and it needs to take this exact format. So you use the items function and select the location you want to extract from, which is the apply to each block, and then you open the brackets here, and you need to select the table or the dataset you're taking the column from, and then select the column, and you click add. And we need to add all the other fields. For the snapshot date, we're going to use the current date from the query, this column, to give us the date the snapshot has been taken. So this is the block, the insert row block, after adding all the fields, just the same way each column. And you notice here, after you save, it turns on to yellow. That means it picked up the field as expected from the previous step, which is good news. And we need to do the same for the other query. Just apply to each again and insert row. Just the same way, the snapshot will take the current date. And now we have the workflow almost ready. One last step to do here is to refresh the dataset after adding the columns, because we will link those two sheets back to the dashboard. To add a refresh step, you can click on the plus sign here, add action, search for Power BI, and see more, and find refresh dataset here. Refresh a dataset, click add, and you can select the same dataset of the dashboard. So we have it here, click on it, and we want this to run only after both of the branches are complete. So there we need to combine them here. To do this, keep selecting the refresh a dataset, go to settings, and here you can select the actions that it runs after. We have the apply each, we need to add apply to each one. Here we go. Now it's added. And that's it. We have our workflow ready. Let's save and let's go back to our dashboard now. Before we test the Power Automate snapshots workflow, let's link the snapshots datasets or the Google Sheets to this dashboard and complete this dashboard. So start by get data and click on more and search for Google Sheet. Here we go, click on it, and here you add the URL for the Google Sheet. So we need to copy this URL without the edit part. Just copy it from here and paste and click OK. You need to sign in to your Google account or to the Google account where the Google Sheets available. So after you sign in, you click on connect. So here we go. We have the budget sheet ready. Just click on it and click load. And we need to do the same for the other Google Sheet. So here we go. We have the two sources have been added, the budget snapshots and the consumption snapshots. We need to add one simple table through data transformation. Go to transform data and reference one of the two snapshots databases. Let's reference the budget and remove all the columns except the snapshot date. So just right click, remove other columns, and from home, remove rows, just click on remove duplicates. This will give us the snapshots we're taking as unique values in a table. Let's just rename it to snapshots, and that's it. We have the data ready. Close and apply. Now we go to model view to set up the relationships. We can see that for the two tables, there's automatically a relationship created with the project table based on the project ID with both the snapshots tables, and the stage table also created automated relationship. The last relationship we need to maintain here or create is between the snapshots. Let's click on snapshot date, link it to snapshot date here, and again with the consumption table. So now we have the snapshot table is linked, and we have all the relations are set. So now we have the budget, the current budget showing in this table. Let's show the previous budget of the previous snapshot budget. You go to the budget snapshots and you just select the approved budget and feed it to the values here. Let's rename it to budget PV, and you can format it just the same way. From specific columns, you select budget previous, and display units, you can select millions just to have the same format, and you adjust it. But notice here, this showing all the snapshots, so we need to add a filter to look into a specific snapshot. And to do this, we're going to add one slicer, and from the snapshots we add the snapshot date to this slicer. You can change the slicer settings to a drop down. Here we go. Let's turn off the header and resize it, and just have the snapshot here. So it's a drop down. Now you can select the date, for example, the first snapshot, 1st of November. You can see the values are adjusting here. Now let's add the previous values for the consumptions and for the remaining. For the consumption, you go to the consumption snapshots, you add amount and just rename it. And for the remaining, since it's a calculated column, you can see here we have the approved budget minus the consumption. Based on the current values, we need to repeat, but this time for the snapshots. So let's right click on the snapshot table, new measure, just paste the value. I have it ready. Remaining previous, it will take the sum from the approved budget, but from the snapshot table, minus the sum of the consumption from the snapshot table. And hit commit, and again add it to the same table. So now we have the current budget, the previous budget. We need to see the change, and for that we're going to create a measure, and we'll do the same for the consumption and the remaining. So let's go to the budget table, right click, new measure. I have it ready. I'll just paste, and we'll name it budget change, or the change in budget, and it will take the approved budget from the current table or the live table minus the approved budget from the snapshot table, and hit commit. So we have the budget change created. Let's add it to the table after the previous budget here. So we can see now the budget change is showing. We need to add the same measures for the consumption and the remaining. So here we go, we added the consumption change and the remaining change. So we have the remaining change, which is subtracting the current remaining from the previous value or the previous snapshot remaining, and same for consumption change. It takes the current consumption amount minus the snapshot amount, and I added them to the table. Now we have this slicer showing the snapshot. If you switch, the values will update accordingly. So we have the dashboard showing the snapshot date. Let's add another card to show the current date or the live data date. We're just going simply to use a card and feed to it the current date from the budget table. Click on it and you just need to format it. And remove the category label, and maybe we use the same font. Here we go. We have the current date here and we have the snapshot date here. Let's just apply some formatting. So this is the dashboard after applying some formatting. Here showing the current date card, the slicer, and we have the budget, previous and current, and the change. You can see here we used icons as a conditional formatting. Just to show you quickly how to apply the conditional formatting for the budget current, you go to the values here, click on the arrow and select conditional formatting based on icons. You can see here you select the style. I selected this one based on a rule on the budget change measure we created earlier. If the value is less than 0, give it red. If it hasn't changed, we use this icon, the yellow one. And if the change is greater than 0, we give it this icon, the green one. And you click OK. It reflects in the budget column here. And same, I applied conditional formatting here based on the change, conditional formatting, but this time based on font color. If it's less than 0, it will be red. Greater than 0, it will be green. And that's it. We have the dashboard ready. Now we can test the snapshots. Let's first publish this dashboard and replace the old one. We need to make sure that it has the same name to replace the old one because it's connected to Power Automate. So you go to Home and you click on Publish. Save. And you click Save, and here it gives you a message. Do you want to replace? Click Replace. And we have the dashboard published. There's one important thing in Power BI service you need to make sure of before you start testing the workflow or before you run the Power Automate workflow, that the dashboard can refresh. So if you look in the semantic model here, you click on the 3 dots and click on Settings. Just make sure that you have the data source credentials and the gateway is set properly. So here we can see we don't have any issue, everything is connected. But if not, you need to edit credentials to make sure that the connection is established. So remember to do this before you jump to the next step. So this is the workflow we created and saved earlier. And if you remember, we set it up to run on a monthly basis in an automated way. But if you want to test it, you can go inside it and click on test. Let's select manually and click test. So now you just click on run flow and you can see the workflow is running. Click done. So now it shows you the check mark whenever something is complete or a step is complete. You can see now it's working on saving the data to the sheets. If you go to the sheets, you can see it's already started to add the rows. You can see it automatically created an extra column named for automate app ID and added a unique ID for each of the steps. So it finished here. The consumption snapshot. Let's see if it's working. See, rows are being added for the snapshot as expected. So here we go. We can see the workflow is complete. Everything is green. That means everything processed properly. Now let's go and check the published Power BI dashboard. So we go to Power BI service here. So this is the dashboard. Let's open it. Now let's check if a new snapshot has been added. And you can see here the new snapshot has been added. You can switch to it and you can see the matrix view has been updated. Since it has the same values, nothing has changed. Everything show the same values. But once you set this in a monthly basis, it will accumulate snapshots here automatically and you can start comparing the changes over time. And this concludes this tutorial. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this tutorial on using Power Automate with Power BI useful. Please hit the like button and leave your thoughts in the comments below. New here, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more BI and data science advanced contents. Also, don't miss the other tutorials on integrating Power Automate with Power BI. We have covered a lot of topics related to automated alert systems and gathering data using Power Automate. You will find the links in the description along with a link to download the dashboard we covered in this tutorial. Until next time, stay curious and data driven. Peace.